Q&A Saturday time. Hello everyone, we're going to be talking about raw wraps today and answering your Q&As, so feel free to leave them in the chat if you have questions. Welcome, thank you for joining me. This is going to be a great live. I haven't gone live in a while because I've been working so hard on my new wraps ebook, but I really wanted to hop on and share a little bit more about the wraps with you. Hello everyone, and also to answer your questions. So if you have any questions about raw food, about the wraps, about whatever, you can ask in the chat. We'll be answering those. But the wrap book, the number one question that I've been asked about the raw wraps is, when is the book available? The recipes and the ebook will be available soon. I am working very, very, very hard to get it all edited, to get all the photos in, and to finish it up, tidy it up so it's ready for sale. It's going to be released digitally first, so digital copies, the ebook will be released first. Soon, when I say soon, I'm like, very soon. But keep watching my stories, sign up for my email list, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and just keep checking in, and you'll know when it's ready, because I'll be sharing about it when it's ready. And the print version, that's another question that I've been asked. When will the print version be ready? That one is going to take a little bit more time because I have to totally reformat it, and I have to figure out a way on how I can get you guys the links, because there's a lot of links in the ebook, and that's why I like ebooks so much, because you can just tap on links and it takes you to places, whereas with a paper book you can't tap on stuff. So I'm gonna have to have a special link where you can download a PDF with all the links and stuff if I do it in print. Plus I have to reformat it. I need to get a different cover. Print is very, very different than ebooks, so I'll be working on that after I release the digital version. So I'm thinking like late summer, I'm hoping, for the print version, but the digital version will be very, 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 very soon. So with that said, if you guys, again, have any questions, post in the chat. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you here. The wrap ebook I'm very excited about. There are 33 recipes in the ebook, and the 33 recipes have multiple recipes in them. So you're getting the wrap recipe to make the wrapper, you're getting a filling recipe, and you're getting a sauce recipe. You're also getting optional stuffing ingredients like other vegetables or maybe a massaged kale recipe. You're getting all different kinds of little recipes in the recipe itself, so you can make different flavored wraps. Like we've got the Italian herb pizza wrap that has a pizza flavored wrapper. It's got marinated mushroom steaks for inside. It's got a marinara sauce. So, and some of them have like fermented cashew cheeses. But again, if you don't want to use the fermented cashew cheese, you can use the sauce from a different recipe. So it's very, very cool to be able to mix and match different ones. Like if you really like the wrap from the everything but the bagel wrap, which is Nate's personal favorite, you can use that wrap and you could make the fillings from some other things too. So they are very good to mix and match. I know you'll be using microgreens farmer here. Hey, welcome. Good to see that you're growing microgreens. That's awesome. Yeah, we have lots of microgreens and sprouts in the wraps. Like you can even add them to the wrapper itself. We don't have it as an additional ingredient in some of them, but you can totally add microgreens to the wrapper itself while you're blending it. Just add a handful or two for bonus nutrition, bonus fiber, and that can be in the wrap itself as well. And you can also stuff it with tons of different vegetables and microgreens and sprouts and other things too. It's gonna be fun. I, for the longest time, never made wraps, because every time I would try to make wraps, they would get all really curly on the edges or super crispy. They'd be harder to roll. They'd be pliable and they'd work, but they weren't like a wrap. So I figured out, kind of accidentally, a way to make the wraps so that they don't curl up on the edges and got all kind of funky shapes. And I'm going to be sharing that in the ebook. There's also a 27-minute video that shows you when to know when the wraps are ready and how to wrap the wraps, and it's going to be really fun. So the link to that video will be in my ebook, so you'll have to grab the ebook to be able to watch that video. We do have a question. Do you ever deal with sugar crashes when you started raw? I do not have diabetes. I just crash quickly with raw, even when I'm going slowly and making sure I eat enough. It's going to depend, I think personally, a lot on your fat intake. So if you are consuming a lot of oils or nuts and seeds like excessively, that can cause issues with your blood sugar. Also, stick with whole food. Stick with whole food, more greens, more vegetables. Like if you feel like you're getting a little bit of a crash after a smoothie, load it up with greens. Put kale in there, microgreens in there, put some more fibery vegetables into your smoothie, and berries as well. Berries are really helpful with insulin. So adding blueberries to your smoothie, raspberries, blackberries, that kind of thing can really help with that as well. But I would recommend increasing your greens. For one, everybody should be increasing their greens and lowering your fat percentage down to around 10% total calories from fats. Focusing on omega-3 rich sources like chia and flax, and staying away from the more omega-6 rich fats, and trying to keep them in appropriate amounts in your diet. Like obviously we're not talking about no fat here, because fats are essential in a healthy diet, and just like being appropriate with it, not overdoing it, not having handfuls of nuts and not having like a huge amount of like really nut-based dressings. You can still have nuts and seeds and they're good for us, but just eat them appropriately, right? With a huge, big, giant salad, lots of different varieties in there. That's going to be helpful. I hope that helps answer your question. I'm interested in this lifestyle, but have no idea how to. Fresh off the press melts. The best suggestion that I have for you is to just start by increasing the amount of raw foods that you're eating and decreasing the amount of processed foods, animal products, and oils, and trying to eventually eliminate them. This isn't an overnight thing. I know some people, like I went overnight, but I also had 10 years of practicing and trying different ways of doing it. So some people can go overnight, but it's not like, don't expect yourself. Don't put that pressure on yourself. If you're interested in the lifestyle, just start learning. Watch a new video every day. Read something about raw every day. Implement new things. Change your habits. Start scheduling in the recipes. Try new recipes. A really great resource, and something that I released about 2 months ago, I would say, is my brand new fully revised 52 to a New You ebook. That is my raw vegan transition guide. And I think that guide would be super helpful to you and anyone who is looking to add more raw to their diet or to go full raw. It's a 52-step guide that it goes over everything that I could possibly think of to add to it. It's 300 pages and there's 47 recipes in there to get you started. It's called 52 to a New You, and it's in my e-store. The link is in my bio. So if you go to my bio, Raw Food Romance, you can click the link in my bio and click on the ebook store, like buy ebooks, and it's in there. It's the 52 to a New You. You can use code RAWFOOD40 and get 40% off any of the recipe books that you buy from my store. And that ebook is a really great resource for newbies and for anybody. Like even if you've been doing it for a while, you can read it, maybe learn something new, maybe be re-inspired. It's a really great resource, and I hope that that helps. But really just need to start adding more raw to your diet. Start adding more raw and start getting rid of the other stuff. How long does it take to make the wrap in the dehydrator? That's a great question. So it's about 12 to 16 hours. And now I know a lot of people will feel, oh, that's so much time. But really, honestly, it takes 11 minutes for me to blend the wrap, and then I just put it in the dehydrator. Like there's not a lot of time. You just need to know when to put it in the dehydrator. Nate and I like to do it in the morning, and then it's ready the next day. Like, it's so easy to do these. Just pour, spread, put it in the dehydrator, and just let it sit until it's fully dry. And again, in the ebook, I have a 27-minute video where I show you like the steps of when to know when your wrap is dry. So I have a different technique than some other people use to make wraps, because I've made wraps in the past and they've always curled up when you flip them, that kind of thing. So I figured out, again, by accident, I figured out this new way of doing it for me, and I'm sure other people have done it like this too before, but for me it's new, and I'm like so excited to share because these wraps are so awesome. But you need to know when your wrap is dry fully, and I do show that in the video that you get in the ebook. There will be a link to go watch that video when you buy it. Again, it's not ready yet. I'm thinking a couple weeks-ish. Really soon. I'm almost done. It's going to be great, but 12 to 16 hours. Now, when it comes to your dehydrator times, factors come into play. If you have your dehydrator packed and you're using all 9 trays, say you have a 9-tray dehydrator and you got something in every single tray, it's going to take double the time pretty much, or almost double the time to dry everything, because you have so much in there. But if you only have 2 trays going on in there, it's going to take a lot less time because there's not as much moisture being like floating around, and it's taking a lot longer to dry the more stuff you have in your dehydrator. Also, the humidity of where you live. If you're living somewhere that's really humid, it's going to take a lot longer to dehydrate. Whereas if you're living in somewhere like the desert where it's dry, or in, say, Canada, in the dry areas of Canada, it will take less time to dry. So there's a lot of different factors that come into play, but I would say on average, it's about 12 to 16 hours, give or take. But again, you put it in and then forget it. Like, you don't have to worry about it. Just if you want to set a timer on your dehydrator or just let it go until you see it's done, that's cool too. Like, you put it in the morning, go to work, and it should be done when you get home, or maybe in the evening, just turn off the dehydrator, and then the next day, wrap your wraps. It's so easy. Great. I'll up the greens. I already don't do oil or high fat, so greens is probably the answer. Yeah, and I've noticed a lot of people who do have sugar crashes when they're eating a lot more fruit is because they're just not getting enough of those greens, and adding greens to smoothies can really help balance out and stabilize blood sugar. But vegetables and greens are incredibly important on a raw diet to get you those extra minerals and for fiber variety to help build your gut microbiome. So very, very, very special things to be eating. Enzymes in the house. Hey, I'm excited to try some of his new recipes. He's got some new recipes coming too. Very cool. Love from India. Hello. Let's see what else. Is a 1/4 cup of mixed flax chia too much daily, and a whole avocado? Oh, that's way, personally, that would be way too much. I aim to get around 25 grams of fat total for the day. 25 to 30 grams of fat total. And 1 avocado has 27 grams of fat. So, I mean, if I'm gonna do avocado, I do a half, and I try to get the small avocados so it's not as much. And a 1/4 cup of chia flax is not necessary. I do about a tablespoon of chia or flax, tablespoon or 2 maybe. But really, like, that's going to be way too much fat, especially if you're not eating a lot of the fruits and vegetables. Like, if a lot of your calories are coming from the fats, you're not getting as many calories from the fruits and vegetables. So it's like, we have to balance that out. We have to eat more fruits and vegetables and less of the fats. So yeah, I would definitely say that's pushing it. The Facialist Spa asks, what made you become vegan? I love that question. So I learned about a raw diet in 2004. And when I was 24, I was working at a natural health store selling supplements and nutritional coaching and that kind of thing. And I discovered a raw vegan diet, but I never had the vegan connection. I knew vegans, but I never I knew why they were vegan, but I didn't have the connection. And you don't really understand until you become vegan. And then when you're vegan, you're like, oh, I get it now, right? even though I totally knew about the slaughter and the, the exploitation and all that stuff, but it was like I had blinders on and I didn't want to accept it as truth. So for 10 years, I played around with a raw diet. I did it because I resonated with the raw part, and it was vegan by default sometimes. There were some times that I did raw where I was having raw animal products as well. And now as a vegan, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I did that. But I did because I did like the nourishing tradition, the primal diet stuff and everything. I did all of that in my 20s. And then when I was 34 in 2014, I was eating the worst of my entire life. I was almost 200 pounds and I had like cystic acne like crazy. My hormones were all out of whack. I had joint pain. I had been dealing with candida, overgrowth, and gut dysbiosis for 15 years since I was 20 years old. That's one reason why I got into natural health, was because I had issues and I was trying to deal with them. And I did like tons of like fasts and candida kits and cleanses and detoxes, you name it. I tried herbs and parasite cleanses, and I did a lot of stuff, and I got a lot of supplements for free. Nothing was like really getting rid of it at the root cause. Like I would feel a little bit better and I'd be like, this is great, and then it would come back because I wouldn't change the foundation of what I was putting into my body every day. So in 2014, I had I was at the height of all the symptoms that I was having. I was sick like every 2 months with something, with a yeast infection, a bladder infection, a flu, or a cold. I had, extreme joint pain. And I'm like, I'm 34. How am I gonna what's gonna happen in the future when I'm like 50 or whatever? Like I was on the edge. So that night I had like heart flutters in the middle of the night, which I had like 4 to 5 times a week. I'd have these like heart flutters and I would wake up feeling like I was having a heart attack, and I wouldn't be able to get back to sleep because I'd be thinking about like, what would it be like to die? And I hated going to sleep. It was like the worst time of the day. I dreaded it because I knew I was gonna like wake up and like be all anxious and everything. So that morning, after those heart flutters, I was like, I'm gonna go raw again. And my ex at the time was like rolling his eyes, like, you're gonna go raw for the millionth time. But this time I was like watching Fully Raw Christina's videos. I was getting re-inspired. I was reading my old journals and that kind of thing. And in one of Fully Raw Christina's videos, there was like in the comment section, somebody said, if you wanna go vegan, watch Earthlings, Cowspiracy, and Forks Over Knives. So I was like, well, I'm gonna watch some documentaries, gotta keep the inspiration going. So I watched those 3, I was instantly vegan. I finally got the connection. I was like, I'm vegan for life. So that's when I went vegan. I went vegan for ethical reasons, and the raw was just what I resonated with. I thought most vegans ate raw, or mostly raw anyway. So I defaulted to a raw diet, but I went vegan for ethical reasons. So I'm ethical vegan. And I'm raw because I love raw food. I love feeling hydrated and refreshed. I love getting creative in the kitchen. I just really, really love eating this way. And I want to eat raw foods, and it's become such a solid habit in my life that I don't even think about cooked food anymore. Like, I don't want it. I don't care for it. It's not part of my life. But that came with the habit. And a habit is a practice. You have to practice your habit. If you don't practice your habit, you're not going to get good at it. It's just like learning a new instrument, learning a language, learning a skill of any kind. You have to practice it to get good at it. You don't just get good overnight. You've got to practice it. So that's why I became vegan, for ethical reasons. Really, like, the straw that was like what really made it click to me was the exploitation of dairy cows. And how we are isolating the females of a species to exploit them for their natural body functions. And like when I was like, when that clicked, I was like, I can't be part of this anymore. So that's what the straw that made me go vegan. How long do the wraps stay edible? Can you freeze them? I have one in the freezer that I'm going to thaw and see how it goes. I've never frozen them. I mean, I've never made the wraps before, so I'm doing a lot of little tests and stuff. So we'll see how that frozen one goes. When you freeze raw food, it changes the texture. So I'm not sure how that's gonna look thawed. if I need to dehydrate it again, I have no idea because I just eat them fresh. I make them and eat them fresh. Really, like I said, it takes 11 minutes to blend it and then just wait and then I wrap them fresh the next day. I'd rather eat fresh food personally. That said, we did leave some on our counter or on a table for 2 weeks after we made the wraps. And they wrapped just fine. They were a little dry and kind of crunchy. They weren't as pliable as the first day out of the dehydrator. Or like, I would say the first 2 to 3 days out of the dehydrator, they're really nice. But after then, they just start to dry out. You could probably put them in like a Ziploc bag. They're pretty big though. So I don't like to peel them off the mat until I'm ready to wrap. So you'd have to like put them with the mat into the Ziploc bag. Again, it's like all this like preservation stuff and everything. It's like just make it and use it fresh as much as you possibly can. You could probably do them for like 3-4 days in advance. That could work. Like make them Sunday or Saturday afternoon and have 3 or 4 wraps for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then put another batch in like Tuesday night and have some for Thursday, Friday, Saturday if you wanted to have wraps every day. But honestly, it's just better to do them fresh, and they're really easy to make. Once you get into a routine, then they're really, really super easy. So I don't know on the freezing thing. We'll test that out and we'll see. Let's see. And also, yeah, with the wraps, Enzyme was saying I don't time anything. You really need to like look at the wraps because someone can say dehydrate for 4 hours for something, but it depends on the humidity level, what else you have in the dehydrator, how thick you make it, blah, blah, blah. Like there's so many factors that determine dry time. So it's really dry it until it looks like the way you want it and then take it out. So dry time is kind of, Enzyme, Enzyme 24 in 2004. Yep. That's how old I was too. We're the same age. 43. Did you ever try raw vegan keto? I don't recommend doing it full time, but I tried for 3 months while doing parasite detox. I don't and won't. It's not something that interests me at all. I don't do any like fasting or intermittent fasting or parasite cleansing or detoxes or anything like that. That whole world, I'm not really interested in it because I'm more interested in sustainable everyday stuff that I can do every single day because our body detoxes every day. I'm just here to support my body and whatever it's doing. But I don't do any of those kinds of things like 3 months of this or whatever, because if I can't do it lifelong, then there's no point for me to do it for any amount of time. So that's my thoughts on that. Earthlings, Cowspiracy, Forks Over Knives. Yep, those are the 3 movies that made me vegan. And we love your recipes. Oh, Diana Banana, thank you so much. I'm so glad you do. Was it hard for you to leave cooked foods? It's only as hard as you make it. So if you focus, it's all in your focus. If you focus on planning and finding raw foods that you love and raw recipes that you love and how you feel when you're eating them, focus on that kind of stuff. Don't focus on what you can't have anymore, what you used to have, or what used to taste good or whatever. Like that's going to keep you in the past. You're moving forward. If you want to move forward with raw, then focus on raw and find ways to enjoy it more than you would from your past. Now, for me, I didn't find it hard because I had such a strong motivation and I was enjoying it. I was getting creative. I was eating enough. That's a big one. If you're not eating enough, you're going to default to your old habits. Hunger is natural. Cravings are a symptom of hunger. When you're hungry, you're going to crave, but you crave what you habitually eat when you are hungry. So you're going to crave. A craving is basically just a reflection of your daily habits. If you typically eat chips when you're craving stuff and you want a snack, then that's what you're going to crave. But if you typically eat bananas as a snack, then eventually, once the habit becomes solidified through practice and repetition and consistency, then that becomes your default. Like if I'm like snacky and I'm like, I could go for something, I walk into the kitchen and I grab a piece of fruit, or I grab like a couple handfuls of cherry tomatoes or whatever is in the kitchen. Like I just grab whatever fresh food is there because that's my habit. So when you're hungry, you have a craving, but your craving is simply a reflection of your current habits. So that's something to look at. And when I first went raw, of course, it's going to be challenging to change out of a comfort zone. And I was eating a lot of junk food, but I really wanted to eat raw. And I found raw foods that I really loved, and I found raw recipes that I really loved. And I was more likely to eat those because I would recognize that when I did eat those, I was happier. So I wanted the happiness from that instead of from the other stuff. Your meal plan is perfect for me. I bike daily back and forth to work, about 35K a day each way. Wow. Work at a nursing home is physically intense and still have all the necessary energy. I love that, Sonia. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, you just need to eat enough. And my meal plans have a lot of calories. Again, you can add snacks if you need more calories. But the meal plans, all of my recipe ebooks and everything is 40% off. The code is RAWFOOD40. Link is in my bio if anyone wants to grab any of those ebooks. The wrap book is coming soon. The wrap book is coming soon, very soon, couple weeks, and we will be ready to release that. Watch our stories, watch everything, because you'll know when it's ready. But it's so good to hear that. Fit Green Queen asks, how often do you consume cooked steamed food, if at all? Never. I haven't had cooked or steamed food in almost 9 years. It'll be 9 years in September that I haven't had any cooked food. Actually, I had one cooked, I think it was like steamed stuff like 6 months into raw. So like eight and a half years ago or something like that. I had some steamed something at a resort because they had animal products and all the other raw salads, so I just defaulted to some steamed veggies because I was too scared to ask. And like, I've learned from this, right? You learn from what you do. And then another time I did a test because I wanted to see if I liked raw till 4. This was before I was online. This was before I was sharing YouTube videos. It was like maybe like 3 months into my raw journey. I did a raw till 4 day where I did raw for breakfast, raw for lunch, and then like half raw, half cooked stuff for dinner. And I was like, it wasn't as good as like a big salad that I could have made. So I never did it again. So it's been like, yeah, almost 9 years that I haven't had any cooked or steamed food. I just don't feel the need for it. And that, I'm not saying that it's like bad if you still wanted to have like some steamed broccoli or whatever. It's not the end of the world, but I personally prefer to have a big giant salad full of variety with one of my favorite sauces. That's what I want. And I do this lifestyle not because I have to be raw or I need to be in this like box of perfection according to whoever thinks that what raw is law or whatever. Like I don't fit into the rules. I do raw because I want to do raw. I eat raw because that's what I want. And that's what makes me feel the happiest. So yeah, I don't do any steamed or cooked food and likely won't. I don't have any desire or interest at all. So let's see what else do we have. Questions. I love these Q&As. I miss these Q&As. I really got to do these more often. Tina says, I need to get it together again and be consistent. Stop letting my environment dictate my goal. That's a really good observation. Our environments will change. Seasons change, but our habits are what determine our future. So like there's a lot of people who will say like, well, I'll wait Monday and I'll wait until after my sister's wedding, or I'll wait until after vacation, or after this or after that or whatever. There's never going to be an easy time. I get a lot of people say too, like, well, I'll do it in the summer when it's easier to eat more raw food. But the summer comes with its own challenges too. Like you've got patios and weddings and parties and picnics and vacations and road trips and all kinds of fun stuff in the sun, like festivals and everything. Like, you know, people say it's hard in the winter. Honestly, it's just as hard in the summer when you have like social stuff going on and everything. I was like, it's not like it's going to be easier. It's only easier when you create the habit. The habit is what makes it easier, but you have to do the habit in order for it to become easier. And I did the first 5 years raw when I lived in Canada. in Edmonton, where, you know, some winters would get to like minus 40, minus 30, minus 40 was like pretty regular. And it snowed like 7 months out of the year. Produce wasn't as great as is here, but I still did it because I wanted it. I wanted it enough to make it happen. And the more you repeat a habit, the easier it gets. And yeah, that's how you change. How do you live without potatoes? I'm living without potatoes. That would have been the one thing that I ate the most of when I was eating. But I ate it in like ways that were like processed. Like I did chips or French fries, or if I did bake a potato, it was slathered in oil and salt and all kinds of seasonings and stuff. I don't miss potatoes at all. Like I've got so many other things to eat that I love, and it's like I don't really care for potatoes, so I don't eat them. We do use raw sweet potatoes in our wraps. In some of the wrap recipes, it's raw sweet potatoes to give you the extra starch that can feed the microbiome, but it's not cooked, and it's in a wrap, which is like so great because you have like so many fresh veggies in there too. So yeah, you can do sweet potatoes, yams, the purple sweet potato, you can do those all raw. They're just really starchy. That's why I like to have them in the wrap. But yeah, don't do any cooked potatoes, and it's not part of my life. Good evening from Germany. Hello, hello. We have rhubarb season. How to eat it raw the best way. I haven't had rhubarb since I was like a kid, when we had rhubarb in our backyard. You can eat it raw. You could chop it up and probably add it to a smoothie. I'd freeze it first just to make it softer. Don't eat the leaves raw. Please don't eat the leaves raw. Just the red part of the stem. And like you could eat it like celery or add it to smoothies. That would probably be the way I would use it. There's better things than just potatoes. I know there's like so many different foods. Like I don't need potatoes. I eat salads and wraps and burgers and all kinds of really yum stuff. What would happen if you do? I'm not sure I understand that question. What do you mean? What would happen if you ate cooked food? Maybe I don't know what your context is. If I ate cooked food, I'd probably be fine. It's not like I would die or like feel like crap or whatever. I'd probably be fine. I just don't want it. And I prefer raw food, and I've been doing it for so long this way. This is what I want. So your skin is beautiful. Thank you. After years and years and years and years of having cystic acne, it's nice to have healthy skin again. Of course, I'm gonna have, you get wrinkles because that's the beauty of aging. So like I'll get like the wrinkles. It's normal, and I'm happy. I love my skin. I'm so happy that it's not inflamed and painful. That was the worst. It was just like it was just painful. Let's see what else we got here. Why don't you eat only fruits? Great question. Because I believe vegetables and greens are equal to fruits. They totally belong on a healthy raw vegan diet. I don't do all fruits because I believe that there are so many other things that are beneficial in other ways. And I think that vegetables are key to a healthy long-term raw vegan diet where you can sustain it. You can do it every day. And like I said, I've been doing this almost 9 years, and I've never done the all only fruit thing because I don't think that it's ideal long-term. That's just my opinion. And I think that the gut microbiome thrives more when you have more vegetables and greens added to your diet. And I've got the proof. My gut microbiome score, I have 99 percentile for gut diversity. And I attribute that to the vast amount of greens and different varieties of vegetables that I do eat. And I'm not saying that fruit is not good. I eat fruit, and I think fruit is amazing. Fruit is epic, but so are vegetables. I have them in my life on a level playing field. I eat vegetables, and I treat vegetables and greens with the same respect and awe and amazement as fruit. They are equal in my world. So I don't think that only fruits or only vegetables is a good idea. I think they both play their own roles in a really healthy overall balanced diet. What are your thoughts on salt? I replaced inorganic salt by dry tomatoes, coconut, celery, ingredients. That's cool too. I use whole food salt like miso, and we eat fermented foods as well, which have salt added to the brine. As I'm not drinking the brine, I'm eating the fermented vegetable. But that's how we do our salt. Sometimes we'll use a little coconut aminos. I used to use more coconut aminos back in the day, but now we use more miso because it's a whole food fermented living food source of sodium. So I'm not anti-salt either. I think we do need small amounts of sodium, and I aim to be around 500 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium a day in my diet. But the average person's eating like 3,400, and it's really easy to get too much salt. But the goal isn't for me, no salt. I won't ever do no salt because I have done no salt in the past. And because I naturally have very, 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 very low blood pressure, I get really faint. And the only thing that helps is salt because it helps to pump more blood. It increases your blood pressure, obviously. So having a small amount is very, very good for my body, and I need it. So I'm not going to go on a no salt thing. I eat low salt, but I don't do no salt. Caroline is saying, I'm moving in with you so you can make my food. I love that. I love making food for others. It's really fun. Big love from South Africa. Hello. I love your food, inspo, and eating so much more raw. What do you think about juice cleanses? Great question. I'm so happy that you're eating more raw. I personally am not on board with the juice cleanses, and that's my own personal opinion. I know that goes against what a lot of people say, but I am not into the juice fasting. Again, if I can't do it long term for life, it's not something for me. So I don't do those. You're also throwing away a lot of the nutrition in the fiber. There's stuff in the fiber that is only released through fermentation in your gut by your gut microbiome. Like all the polyphenols and a lot of antioxidants are bound to the fiber, the insoluble fiber that you're throwing away. That's released by your gut microbiome in your gut. So you're really throwing away a lot of nutrition when you're doing juicing. Plus the sugar, unless you're doing straight green juices, a lot of people are doing a lot of fruit juices, which can cause cross-linking, more wrinkles, faster aging, that kind of thing. Again, these are just my thoughts and opinions on it. I know it's unpopular, and I know I get a lot of people kind of irritated when I say I don't believe in them, but I do know that some people do feel better, but it's not necessarily the juice cleanse that's making them feel better. It's the fact that they're not eating junk food and animal products and oils and processed foods. So if they were to just go raw, eat whole foods, and even if they're just high raw, I've seen so many people heal from so many different things. I know of people who heal cancer and they're not raw. They didn't do any juicing or fasting or anything, and they've healed from cancer just on a whole food plant-based diet. So it's not about necessarily about what you're doing. Obviously, eating more raw foods is good and beneficial, getting more nutrition, but it's more the elimination of all the other stuff that's making the best difference, because you're replacing it with whole foods, hopefully. So I'll never do a juice fast. I'm not interested in doing anything like that. I've worked over the last 9 years, especially the last 2 years, I've worked really hard to build my microbiome now my microbiome test is, like I said, diversity score is 99 percentile, and my actual overall score for everything, the short chain fatty acids I create and everything altogether, I'm in the 93rd percentile for my gut microbiome test results, and I am not risking that. I am not. I have gut disease running in my family. My uncle died with Crohn's disease. My mother had colon cancer, and I am not going there. I don't want to neglect my microbiome because they thrive on fiber, both soluble and insoluble, I believe. So I think that it's really important to eat the whole food the way nature made it as much as we possibly can. So again, not something I'm going to do. Road trip next week. We'll be raw all week because it's easier. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. What were your favorite meals when you first started out? Great question. One of my number one most favorite meals was my French dressing. I'll give you guys the recipe. So if you have a pen, write it down. 5 dates, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, 1 or 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of chipotle powder. Blend it with about a cup of water or so. That was my absolute favorite dressing. I ate it pretty much every single day when I went raw at first. It was the best. I loved it so much. And it's low fat. Now I add a tablespoon of chia to it to get my omega-3s in every day. But in the beginning I didn't know. So I like to evolve with the knowledge, right? If I don't want to stay stuck in a belief system like I have to be like this in this box forever and ever. But if new information comes in and you're like, no, I have to stay this way. I have to stay in this box, right? Where the new information could be very helpful. I want to embrace the new information. And that's why I embraced the gut microbiome stuff, because it's new science that's just now blossoming in the scientific community. We're learning so much, and there's we know maybe half of a percent of the gut microbiome right now. We're gonna learn so much in the future, and I want to evolve with that science. I don't want to stay stuck in a box of limited dogma just because I want to stay in that box. I'm going to introduce new fiber. I remember back in the day, I thought that broccoli and cabbage and stuff like that was too rough on the gut or whatever. But what I do realize now is that it helps our guts thrive, and cruciferous vegetables provide our liver with stuff to make glutathione, which is essential for phase 2 detox. We need cruciferous vegetables and rough greens and all that stuff that they provide us incredible nutrition to be able to have healthy detox, daily detox that our body does anyways every single day. We want to support with proper nutrition. So back in the day, that was my go-to dressing. I did a lot of this one. It's in my dips and dressings book. A lot of the recipes in the dips and dressings book, because I wrote that one 8 years ago or something. That book has a lot of my old favorite dressings in it. The red pepper cashew dip, I would make quite often, a couple times a week, and I would just dip vegetables in it. I'd have a whole head of lettuce, and I would just dip the lettuce in, and then I'd have a bunch of tomatoes, a whole cucumber, a whole bell pepper. I ate a lot. I always ate a lot, and I still do. But that was a dip that I used a lot of. I made raw sushi quite a bit back in the day. But yeah, those were some of my favorite recipes, and they change all the time. Right now it's wraps. We really, really love the wraps. Hello, Raw Edge. It's good to see you in here. Let's see what else we got going on. Just scrolling through. If you guys have questions, please post. Let's see. Where did you get your gut tested at? Great question. I'm going to post in the chat. It's Ombre Lab. I'm going to tag them in here. So Ombre Lab, that's where I got the gut test done. I'm just going to go back to where here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, where'd you get your gut test at? Ombre Lab is where I went for my microbiome testing, and I've done now 3 tests. I'm gearing up to do a 4th test to see where I'm at. I like to do a test twice a year just to see how things are going. But the more variety I add and the more consistent I am with that variety, the stronger my gut is getting. And I know raw vegans who've been raw twice as long as I have, their gut tests are a lot lower than mine, but they do a lot of juicing, they don't eat as many different varieties, that kind of thing. So I'm not saying that they're wrong or what, but what we're doing is working for us, and we feel that variety, lots of vegetables, lots of salads, lots of greens, still eating an abundance of fruit, and having just a wide variety, eating enough, all of that kind of stuff is really beneficial. And eating foods that are really good for the gut microbiome. For me, sunchokes, and for most people, sunchokes or Jerusalem artichoke, jicama, that kind of thing that are really high in inulin, feed your probiotics, the good bacteria in your gut that you need more of. So sunchokes, Yeah, again, endive, chicory, all the endive family like radicchios and all of that, the bitter greens, those are all really good for the gut microbiome. Garlic and onions, very high in inulin. Those are excellent foods for the gut microbiome. I know people think that they are antibiotics, so they're going to kill your good bacteria. They don't kill your good bacteria. They actually, the inulin in the garlic feeds your good bacteria, and the antibacterial properties kill off the bad. So garlic is really, really great as well. But yeah, Ombre Lab, olive oil has so many benefits. Do you use? No, I don't use olive oil and never will. Olive oil is a fractionated 100% fat, and it's not necessary in my diet. Yeah, there might be some properties, but I eat so many other foods that have way more properties than olive oil does. So I don't use olive oil and never will. Not interested in a juice fast. How about a water fast? Even more of a no from me. No, that's not, I wouldn't do a water fast unless I was terminally ill or dying, maybe. I don't even know if I would, but I don't think it's something that I would ever be interested in doing. Again, I'm not interested in starving my gut microbiome, because my microbiome is my most top priority in my body, because they outnumber us. There's more of them than there are cells in our body. So if you're going to eat for your cells, you got to eat for them too, because they outnumber us, and they thrive on fiber, insoluble and soluble fiber. Let's see what else we got. Any more questions in here? If you've done neither and you used to eat meat. Let's see, where can I get the microbiome test? Again, Ombre Labs. Do you eat beans or grains? Great question. I do lentils and peas and mung beans, but I eat them sprouted. So Nate and I sprout our lentils so that they are alive, because we eat raw food. So we don't cook any of our beans. We obviously don't do like kidney beans, because you don't want to eat raw kidney beans. We don't do black beans or anything like that sprouted. We just stick with the lentils, because there's tons of different different types of lentils that you can sprout. Mung beans, chickpeas, I don't really sprout those as often. I prefer the green peas, they're way better. And then all the other sprouts that we make, like broccoli and radish and cabbage and fenugreek and alfalfa and all of those other sprouts. So we do those too. Grains are a no, we don't do grains. We might get sprouted raw oats once in a blue moon, and if we do use those, it's normally for a camping meal, but they're sprouted, so they're raw. And another thing that we do is bloomed rice, which isn't super often either, but we'll bloom rice where you soak it for 36 hours and it blooms, so it becomes raw, soaked. So we'll do that, but we don't cook anything either. So I'm working on 80% raw. That's awesome. That's so awesome. It's great to hear when people are working towards it, whether you go all raw or just add more raw. It's amazing. So good. Will you do a dips and dressings too with your newer recipes? That's a really good idea. I have some ideas on what I want to do for like future recipe books. I do want to do a dips and dressings too, but I'm thinking of making it more like a salad book, because in dips and dressings, I just have the salad dressing or the dip with suggestions of what to do for the salad. So I'm thinking next time I might do like with the salad itself to complement the dressing, but we'll see. I've got so many ideas. Hello from the UK. Hello. Oh, the UK. For gut microbiome testing in the UK, biomesite.com. So it's biome, B-I-O-M-E, site, SIGHT.com. biomesite.com. They are the UK gut testing. So that's definitely, and if you're in Australia, it's microba, I believe, .com. Microba. If that's not it, send me a message because I can send you the correct link. But there is one in Australia as well. How much does a test cost? From Ombre Lab, I think it's about $100. But I like to buy the tests when they have a sale, because why not, right? We always get 4 tests on Black Friday, because they usually have a 40% off on Black Friday. So we get 4 tests. So that's 2 for me and Nate in January, and that's 2 in June or July. So we like to get all our tests when there's a good sale. And I asked how long their tests last, and they said like 2 to 3 to 5 years. They don't know exactly, but it's years. So if you buy the test on a sale and you want to test in 6 months, it's still going to be good. The only thing is, once you test, you have to mail it right away, because they need to get your test as soon as possible so that they get accurate results. So let's see, how do you clean vegetables and fruits if you can't afford organic? That's a great question. You can use baking soda and vinegar in water and let it sit for like 15 minutes or so. You don't need to add a lot, like a couple tablespoons or so of each to water, like a big basin of water, and just let your fruits and vegetables soak in there. Or you can use a fruit and veggie wash. Like we have one that we really like from Norwex, which is an enzyme-based wash that you can just allow your fruits and veggies to soak in there as well. So we don't eat all organic either. We eat like decent amount of organic, but it's not a top priority. I would say we are like accidental organic. So like when we go to the store and we're like, these look good. Oh, look, they're organic. Bonus, right? Like we don't specifically, we're like, oh, it's not organic, then I'm not going to get it. If it's a good deal and it looks good, we're going to get it, whether it's conventional or not. Except for probably like corn. Corn is one of those ones where it's like, I'd rather get organic if we're going to do corn. I mean, we will have like unorganic sometimes, but for the most part, we seek out organic corn. Otherwise, everything else is pretty fair game. What about celery juice? We don't do celery juice. We don't do really any juices unless like maybe like a couple times a year we'll get a juice, or if John Kohler makes us a juice, we'll drink it. It's not like we're anti-juice, but it's not part of our daily life. I'd say, again, a couple times a year we might have juices, but yeah. Do you have a book on sprouting? Actually, my husband does. It's called Alive, and you can find it on his page. His link is in my bio, like it says at Raw Natty Nate. He's got a book called Alive, and it's about sprouting, and I believe it's about fermenting. I don't know for sure, but he's got sprouting in there too, so. So Happy says, I'm so confused when it comes to fat. Dr. Brooke Goldner says unlimited avocados can be eaten. She ups to 3 and no upper limit in flax and chia. Whoa! I would not be able to do that. Honestly, you're going to need to listen to your body, not me or Brooke or what have you. But if you want your insulin to be working properly and you want glucose to be gone, like from your blood to your cells in an efficient manner, you're going to need to lower your fat intake. If you really want to learn more about fats, check out Mastering Diabetes. They talk a lot about this. The more fat you eat, the less sugar you can effectively use. So that's why people who eat a lot of fats go on low carb diets, because their insulin just doesn't function properly because they're eating way too many fats. When you lower your fat, you can increase your fruits, your vegetables, and all of that, your carbs, because your insulin's more sensitive when you lower your fat percentage down. So again, I personally would not do that, but that's just me. Diana Bananas says, what do you think of if I sub chili powder instead of chipotle? Yeah, totally. You could sub the smoked paprika and the chipotle for curry powder and ginger and make like a curry ginger dressing. You can actually swap out the spices from that with any other spices you want to try. Experiment with it and see what you like. Yoga Celebrity's in the house. Hello from a mile away. Yeah, she lives just like a 30-minute walk from our place. Yoga Celebrity, hello girl. I'd love to see you in here. That's awesome. You send them stool for the test. Yes, so for Ombre Lab, what you do is you get a kit. I wish I had one with me here. But you get a kit, and inside the kit there's a little vial that has like a blue liquid in it, and you get like sterile swabs. And what you do is first thing in the morning, and this is TMI, but whatever. Oh, Nate's gonna get a kit. Yay! Nate's gonna bring a kit. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Check it out. So here's the Ombre kit. Ombre. So this is what you get inside. And this is one we're probably going to do in the next couple months. So this is what it looks like. Let's get started. So what you do is first thing in the morning, when you have your stool, I like to catch some of the stool in a in the toilet paper. I don't want it to touch the water because who knows what kind of bacteria is in the water, and we don't want it to mess up our test. So I like to catch a chunk, and what you do is you take, there's a sterile like swab, and then here's the vial with the blue liquid inside. So what you do is you use the swab, you're holding your poo, and you take the swab and you swab out a rice-sized sample. So just a piece of rice. Like, you don't need a lot at all. You just need a rice-sized sample on your swab, and then you put the swab inside and you swish it around with the blue liquid, and you get it all swished. You swish it for like 30 seconds or something like that. Then you throw this away, and you throw your poo in the toilet, and then you take your liquid and you shake it for like 10 seconds. To get all of the bacteria and everything all over the jar. And then you put it in this Ziploc bag, like that. You put it inside. And then you put it in the box, just like this. And then you fold up the box, and you take the seal off, and you fold it over, and you stick it. And then you put it in the mailbox. That's it. It's super easy to do. Super easy to do. And you can do it at home, in the comfort of your bathroom. And you just take, again, a rice-sized sample. That's why I like to take a chunk of, like, while I'm taking my poo. I take a chunk so that I have a good, like, I can get right in the center of the poo to get that for the test. But yeah, once you get, I'll fix this later. Once you get your test results, it's about 3 weeks. So once you mail it, they get it, they send you an email. They're like, we got your test. Oh, we're gonna like do the analysis and everything. And then they send you an email where you set up an account and you can log in and you get to see all the stuff. Like, you can see all the different kinds of bacteria you have, what you need to work on. They give you food suggestions to build bacteria that you need to work on. They offer a lot of suggestions and stuff like that. And you can always message me if you want more clarity on your gut test. Like, you'd be like, what's this? What's that? I can help with that too. Because we've been doing it for about almost a year and a half now. We've been doing these gut tests. And the very first gut test that we did, my score was 83%. And the average person gets 62. That's what they said originally. The average score is 62%. I had 83%. But I also came from a very bad diet, and I was not breastfed. So I didn't get that natural bacteria that newborns get from their mother's milk. So I was already at a disadvantage. I was eating a really crappy diet. I had gut dysbiosis and candida symptoms for 15 years. And I did a lot of cleanses and detoxes and stuff, and I never got rid of it. So I can only imagine what my gut test was when I first went raw. It was probably in the 30s. I know of people, many people actually, who've messaged me who got their tests done who are in the 30s. So I bet you anything, before I went raw, my test was probably in the 30s or 40s. And then as I slowly increased more variety, when I first did the test about a year and a half ago now, the very first gut test that I did, I was already raw for like 7 years-ish. So my test at 7 years was about 83%. And then I tested again just like in January, I think it was January 1st or 16th or something in there. My test was 93%. So I've increased my microbiome score by 10% in the last year and a bit. So by increasing my variety, increasing my vegetables, increasing my like bitters, endive, radicchio, chicory, like all of those different dandelion greens. So I've been increasing that, and sunchokes for sure. Sunchokes have been a very, very, very big staple in our diet too. So just increasing the variety, getting more stuff in there, and our salads have like 25 to 30 ingredients in our salads. We don't do limited diets. We like to have a wide variety because that's what our gut microbiome thrives on. And again, I don't know anyone in the raw community who has a test result like Nate and I. Mine's 83 and Nate's is 90, or mine's 93 and Nate's is 91. So we've really worked hard at building our gut microbiome, and it's really cool to see all the results. You can also upload your test results to biomesite.com. You can set up a free account and upload those to BiomeSite, and you actually get to see more results and it's a little bit more in depth, that's where I got the result where it said my diversity score was 99%. I could not believe how high that was. But I eat a lot of variety. I rarely do mono meals. And if I do mono, it's like a mono snack. Like I'll have like 2 oranges for a snack, but it's a snack, it's not a meal. My meals always consist of variety for the most part. Love your energy so much. You radiate sunshine and hope. Oh, thank you so much. Viome is another place that you can get. Yeah, viome.com. They do the same gut testing. We use Ombre Lab because that's the one that we were introduced to first, but Viome is also another really good company for sure. When buying fruit and vegetables that are seedless, should we avoid seedless? I don't care. Personally, I think it's another form of limited restrictive behavior. If it comes down to it, I would 100% rather eat seedless grapes than no grapes at all. I'd rather eat that. And so I'm not in the whole seeded world. I eat whatever and I thrive, so it's not harming me in any way. So what were your results the first time you did it? Yes, I mentioned that. My results were 83% and now they're 93%. So hopefully the next one stays at 93, or, you know, it's going to fluctuate because it fluctuates based on what you're eating and what you're doing. So it's all good. Any good ideas for anyone trying to get teenagers and young kids to try raw? I would say one of the best things to do is have them and get them involved. Get them involved in what you're doing. Have them plan the meal. Have them choose what you make. Have them wash the vegetables. Have them blend the dressing. Have them pour the dressing. Have them get involved in it, because when they make it and they are part of the process, they're way more likely to eat it. And if you ask them their opinions, like ask them what they want to eat and what vegetables they like, and make foods made with those things that they really like raw, and then just slowly introduce them that way. That would be how I would do it. What's the site for the test? ombrelab.com or viome.com or biomesite.com. Biomesite is spelled S-I-G-H-T, not S-I-T-E. Love listening to you and can't wait for the wraps. Ooh, yes. Can't wait for the wraps. Where do you get your omega-3 tested? I think it's called Omega Quant. I don't remember the name of that. Send me a DM and I'll get that link for you. The omega-3 testing is a finger prick. So basically you order the test. It's like $150. I can't remember exactly how much it is, but you do a finger prick test and you drop your blood and then you send it off to them and they test for your omega-3s. I actually did a routine. Routine is spelled R-O-O-T-I-N-E. I did a routine test where they test your, it's HSCRP, your B12 and your vitamin D levels. And I was good for all of them. So I'm doing something right. Really, really great. So yeah, I love testing. I love testing and finding out where you're at and what you can improve on. Thank you for showing the kit and how it works. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm trying to find the UK one. Okay, Carolyn, I'm going to put it in the chat here for the UK one. And this is the one that you can upload your Ombre Lab scores to and you get more information. It's called biomesite.com. I'm posting it in the chat right now. So it's down there if you want. Aurora Shelley, I wonder if Ombre will test in Canada. They don't, but you can go to this one, .viome. Viome does Canada. So you can go to viome.com. Ombre doesn't do outside the US, but Viome does. So you can order Viome in Canada. I would rather use one recommended than just search because it could be fake. Yeah, so Biome site, I posted in the chat, and viome.com, I posted in the chat. And then www.ombrelab is the one that we use, which is US only. Oops, oh no. Oh, delete comment, I spelled it wrong. Autocorrect sometimes, that's funny. Okay, www.ombrelab.com, and that is the one we use. Okay, so Viome for Canada, BiomeSite for the UK, Ombre Lab for the US, and Microba.com for Australia. Do you use a doctor's office for the rest of your labs? Yeah, we haven't done a blood panel recently, so that's something that's on our list. We will do that. We'll probably just order online. John Kohler actually has a really great video of a website that you can order like all the tests that you want, and you could have like anywhere from $5 to like $1,200. It depends on what you get tested and how many vials of blood they need to pull. And then you just go to your clinic, you get them, they send you the results, and then you would set up with your practitioner or doctor or what have you to go over the results, or you can go over them yourself if you are knowledgeable in that area. I like to think of someone who's plant-based, obviously, Dr. Rick and Karen Dina. I don't know if they go over your blood results with you these days, but they have mentioned that they have in the past. So that's an option as well. I'm sure there's a fee for that. But so you test your blood to see what vitamins and minerals you're deficient in. Routine, ROOTINE, they have two tests. They have a blood mineral test and they have a vitamin B12 and D3 test, I did the B12 and D3 test, and I was good for both of them. I think my B12 was like 600 and something, and my D was really, really good too. So yeah, do you do one-on-one testing? If not, would you consider doing it in the future? I'm not a medical doctor, so I wouldn't feel comfortable going over people's tests, but I can talk about them with you and offer my ideas, but I can't give any medical stuff because I'm not a doctor. But working one-on-one with people to help with diet. Oh yeah, I do help with diet one-on-one. It's $125 an hour. We do a 1-hour Zoom call, and the Zoom call isn't like a diet plan. The Zoom call is more to go over your personal challenges, why it's hard for you, what you could do differently, and we come up with ideas for you to implement into your life, changing. So let's see. Yes, I will save this live. I'm going to put it in YouTube. The lives are always saved on walls. So like once the live is finished, it becomes a video in the video section on Instagram. So you can always go back and watch. It's in the Reels one where all the reels are. It's mixed in with reels, so you just have to go to the reels and go scroll through. But I will be downloading this and putting it onto YouTube, so you'll be able to watch it over on YouTube as well. Sorry, you were talking about testing at the time. I was listening and trying to type a question at the same time. Oh, that's okay. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to post in the chat. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for joining and for chatting and for, just being open to listening to my perspective. Because again, I know my perspective is very different from a lot of raw foodies out there. And I have these views because I've been raw for almost 9 years. And I've formulated them by accepting new science and learning new things and releasing dogma and really going more for the variety and for balance and for consistency, because that's what holds us over long term. It's not the short-term cleanses, it's not the juice fasts, it's not those things don't help us to stay long term. They may get us into it, they may whatever, but I personally have noticed more people damaged, not just physically, but mentally. Emotionally, they get body dysmorphic stuff from doing restrictive diets, and that's just not a place that I want to be and not a place that I want to promote. So that's why I don't talk about them, I don't do them. It's not part of my page or what I share. I want to share balance, and I want to share consistency and habit building and repetition, that kind of thing. That's where I want to share and inspire, is the long-term balanced approach. Lots of greens, lots of sprouts, lots of vegetables, and lots of fruit as well. So low fat, obviously, but yeah. Let's see here. Viome only gives dollars. I'm not sure what you mean by that one. It will be priced in USD for sure. I like your way, and it is motivating and helping me to do this way, and it feels right to me. So thank you for your work. You're very welcome, Gina. Thank you for sharing that. I really do want to be more all encompassing. Like, you don't have to be all raw if you want to eat more raw food. If you want to be all raw, that's cool too, right? It's all where you are at, and you have to work with your own microbiome. But it's not about staying limited. Like, I was chatting with somebody earlier today about how they've been raw for a really long time, but they did a lot of restrictive things. They do a lot of mono-mealing. They eat very simple, limited diet, but they can't do like broccoli and cabbage and greens and all this stuff because it irritates their gut. So they think that broccoli and cabbage and everything isn't human food. The problem is that it's not broccoli and cabbage's fault. It's their microbiome that is not strong enough to digest that yet. But it is possible. All you have to do is add a small amount every day and work up to more. It's not like you're not just going to jump right in and have 4 cups of broccoli. If you can't handle 4 cups of broccoli, start with like a tablespoon chopped up in your salad that you're already eating. And slowly with time, increase your variety, increase the amount of vegetables that you're eating. Work with your gut, not against it. Because when you're working against it, it's going to be gassy and bloaty and all kinds of problems. But another thing that I mentioned to her, it was like, it's like your limited diet is like laying on the couch. It feels good. It's easy. We love it. It's great to lay on the couch, but you're not challenging your body. No one says, oh, I went to the gym and I feel sore, so I'm never going to the gym again because the gym made me sore. No one says that. No one says that meditation, because it's boring or hard or challenging or difficult, isn't beneficial. No one says that like working on your breath work, you know, like doing the breath work, that's challenging. It's uncomfortable, but no one says it's not beneficial. Right? Same with working on our gut microbiome. We have to challenge our gut in order for our gut to grow. And if you are limiting your diet, you're eating very limited amount of food, then you're just limiting the potential of your gut and you are causing it to atrophy, just like laying on the couch. It's easy, it feels good, it's nice, but it's limiting your growth. You can't go to the gym and lift 80 pounds right off the bat. You have to start slow, just like with your gut. Start slow, go slow, take your time. There's no rush, there's no competition. You have to work with where your gut is at and build from there. Because if you don't, you're just going to stay stagnant in that, and you're always going to believe that vegetables are harmful for you because you can't digest them. But it's not the vegetables' problem. It's your gut microbiome just needs some TLC, some tender love and care, and needs some help to start to grow so that it can digest those other foods. So that's my little 2 cents on that. Oh yeah, the UK one, Biome site, they probably price it in US dollars because I think they do ship to the US. I'm not sure. I haven't gone on the site for a few months, so I'm not too sure. But Biome site, they're the ones that ship in the UK. I've done that for 11 years and still don't really digest broccoli well, but I don't give up. You know what could work really well for you? Start with the microgreens or sprouts, broccoli sprouts or microgreens, because they're a lot more tender. They still provide a lot of the glucosinolates that convert into sulforaphane, which is the anti-cancer property. They still provide your liver with the necessary things to make glutathione, which helps with detox. But yeah, go slow, because sometimes, like, you don't need to eat 4 cups of broccoli. Start with a small amount and then add other things too. Like, you're not trying to work up to eating 4 cups of broccoli. You don't need to eat 4 cups of broccoli. You just need to eat enough so that you can add more things. Because for me and for Nate, we prefer to eat small amounts of many things as opposed to huge amounts of only a few things. So it's more about the small amounts of many things. Because like if you see our salad, it's like massive. It fills this whole gigantic bowl and it's huge salad. But the ingredients are small amounts, right? Like there's like a 1/4 cup of broccoli and there's a 1/4 cup of tomatoes and there's a 1/4 cup of cabbage or whatever. Like there's smaller amounts, but there's so many things that it makes this big salad. But again, we've worked up to it We've been doing this for I've been doing it for almost 9 years, since 2014. Nate's been, I think he's like coming up on his 7-year raw anniversary as well. So we have taken time to really grow our microbiome. Another thing that's really going to be helpful for microbiome growth is sleep, exercise, and chewing your food. Those are massive. If you don't chew your food, it's going to be really hard for your body to digest it, because digestion begins in the mouth. You need to chew your food in order to digest it properly, especially carbs, which is fruits and vegetables. So you need to chew your food thoroughly. And I challenge people to count 80 chews when they take a bite, to really see how much they don't chew enough. So aim for 80. Next time you eat, chew 80 times per bite. Try that for 5 bites, and you'll really see how not very much we chew. Do your sprouts get white, fluffy mold-like substance on them after a day? It is not mold. It's most likely cilia hairs. So Nate has a really awesome picture of them. It's really typical in broccoli and especially radish sprouts. So what happens is they're just looking for water. So they create this like fuzzy, like kind of like uniform, like they're little hairs that grow off the root. They're just looking for water. And the longer they go without water, the longer those hairs grow. So you have to rinse your sprouts like 2 to 3 times a day so that they don't grow those extra hairs, because they're just looking for water. It's not mold. Mold is going to look like a spider web is in there, or it's going to be different colors like pink, blue, or green, or whatever. That's mold, and you most likely don't have mold. It's most likely the cilia hairs, which are extremely common when you don't rinse your sprouts off more often. So you should be totally fine. Let's see here. Do we have any other questions? If you do, post in the chat below. We are going to be releasing the rap book soon, hopefully in the next couple weeks. We'll be releasing watch my stories, watch my posts, watch my reels, come back often, turn on notifications, subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my email list if you want to get notifications of when this is happening. The Raw Wraps ebook is going to be 33 recipes, and each recipe has multiple recipes because there's the wrap, the filling, the sauces, the toppings, all of that in there. So each recipe has multiple recipes in it, but there's 33 wraps that you'll make, and I'm so excited to share. There's a video that's going to be included in that ebook. There's also lists of all the tools that you're going to probably want to get. But that's coming soon. Have you ever eaten kelp noodles, and what's your opinion on them? They're highly processed food. They say raw on them. I don't believe they're really truly like super raw. They are very highly processed. I also don't use rice paper, because rice paper is another highly processed food. So those are not part of my diet. I will do kelp noodles like once in a year or whatever, I think I've had kelp noodles maybe once in the last 4 years. I think maybe twice in the last 4 years. So it's not something that I use. Maybe if we're at a restaurant and it happens to be in a dish that I want to get, maybe, but typically I don't do the kelp noodles because they're highly processed, and they also make me feel weird. Whenever I've eaten them in the past, like in my early days of raw, I would have them maybe like once every couple months. I would try them maybe at a raw restaurant or what, but I would always feel really empty, like a hunger cramp, but it wasn't hunger. It was like a cramp in my stomach. It was really weird. So I just don't eat those. I'd rather make my own wraps, and just cucumber noodles are way better. Any breaking news about the 2023 Raw Bundle? Woo! So the Raw Vegan Bundle only happens once a year, and it hasn't happened yet, but I can't share dates because that's no dates. I can't share about it, but it hasn't happened yet this year. It only happens once, and stay tuned because you'll never know when it drops. And you eat corn. I love corn. I avoid it because I heard it's not good for the body. I eat corn. I eat organic, raw corn. I think it's great. We don't eat it all the time, but I'd say a couple times a month, maybe we'll have corn. I don't think it's bad. I think the whole thing, like good and bad, is just relative to other things, right? Like if you're just going to label something as bad and never eat it, you're missing out on that fiber, the potential. And again, if it's organic, it's non-GMO, because you can't have it GMO if it's organic. So that's good. Let's see. Dr. Goldner and Doug Lyle would disagree with you on chewing, but I find since listening to you about the chewing, I feel better chewing more. I know, really, it's when I say like chewing, I mean like chew your food thoroughly. You don't want to swallow most stuff whole, because that's going to cause digestive issues, and that's like proven stuff. So yeah, like when I say do the test, like challenge yourself to chew 80 times to see how little we do chew. I'm not saying that you need to chew 80 times per bite, but just challenge yourself to do that and to see how little you actually do chew. Because most people eat way too fast and then they get gas and bloating and they wonder why. Most of the time, if it's not the combination of the food or the food type of food they're eating, then it's likely because they didn't chew enough. They're just rushing through their meals, which I don't think is good either. Can we pre-order the wrap book? No. You gotta just wait until it's ready. I don't have the pre-order thing set up. I love the burger book and want another hard copy. The wrap book will be released digitally first in the next couple weeks, but it won't be released in print until late summer, because I have to totally revamp it. I have to change all of the way I edited it and everything, because there's a lot of links in the digital version, so I have to change it, because you can't tap on paper and it won't take you anywhere. So I have to change it for print, which is going to be a whole other job in itself. So the print version will be later summer-ish, but the digital one will be coming soon. When will your wraps book come out? We love your wraps. Thank you so much, Mama Ginger. That book is coming soon. Again, next couple weeks, we're gonna drop it. You watch the stories, stay tuned with the posts. You'll know when it's ready. Let's see. I've heard spirulina is very good, but for gut microbiome, and is high in DHA, EA, and omega-3. Spirulina is a great option. We don't use spirulina very much, like maybe a couple times a year, just for coloring. We don't really take a lot of like those powdered supplements. We have Daily Greens Boost, but we rarely have it. It's just not. It's not like a habit to us to include those foods. But if they are for you, go for it. Let's see what else we got in here. I keep trying to click the books. So sad. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Caroline. If you could expand on that. The link in my bio, is that what you mean? If anyone has any other questions, please post in the chat. I'm excited for what's to come. I also have a brand new ebook that's coming as well. I'm going to release it at the same time as the wrap book. It's called Make It Raw Volume 2 that I wrote with Chef AJ. So for those of you who have Make It Raw, the first version, we did a Volume 2 where we have 28 brand new recipes. There's quite a few in there that have the bloomed rice. So there's a bloomed rice burger. There's a bunch of really cool, awesome things that using sunchoke. So it's a really good gut-friendly ebook where we took Chef AJ's recipes and we made them raw. That's why we call them Make It Raw. And it's Volume 2, and that's coming soon as well. Let's see, we've got the Saucy Chickpea has one more question. When I went high raw, I went from going to the bathroom beautifully to a lot of gas and pain and constipation. I was eating the same amount of fiber and fresh fruits and veg. Interesting. I would really need to dive into your daily journals and what you were doing, but that's likely because it's probably more fiber than you think, more water. You do need to chew your food better when you're eating raw food, and also if you're not used to that amount of raw fiber, it's not the food itself, it's your gut microbiome that just needs to adjust and adapt to the amount. Let's see. Any ideas? Yeah, I would say add more raw slower and work with your microbiome. That's the best way to do it. Hustle and Bustle. I have almost all your ebooks and I love them. I'm checking daily on your page for the wrap book. I love wraps and need raw ones. Excited for your new ebook. I am so excited you're excited. I'm excited. Everyone's excited. This is going to be such an awesome ebook. I am mega excited, even more excited than the burger book. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Oh, Saucy Chickpea says, thanks for answering. You're very welcome. I love answering your questions. If you have any questions at all, please send me a DM here on Instagram at Raw Food Romance, and I'd be happy to chat with you about any issues you have, struggles, ideas, thoughts, brainstorm. I love it. This is my job, and I'm able to do so because you guys grab my ebooks. So hopefully everyone who's listening here, if you really enjoy my content and you want me to keep sharing and keep going live and keep creating new recipes, grab the wrap book when it's ready. It's not ready yet. A couple weeks, we'll be ready to go. Please go grab that, or you could get any of our recipe books that we have right now, like the burger book, the soup book, the taco book, the appetizer book, my 3 meal plans, dips and dressings. I've got informational ebooks like my brand new raw vegan transition guide. It's 300 pages of information to help you transition to a raw diet. It talks about your digestion, your gut microbiome, how to shop, how to store your food, how to plan, blah. There's like so much information in there. That's called 52 to a New You. There's 47 recipes in that one. There's also an ebook called Building Healthy Relationship with Food. I have a video course called Checkmate Your Cravings. I've got so much content for you guys, and it's all 40% off. So if you do appreciate what I do, if you want to grab some of that stuff, enjoy the code RAWFOOD40. Get 40% off any or all of our raw vegan ebooks and packages as well. Like if there's a combo of ebooks, you can use the code on that. You're getting a little discount by getting the package, but you get another 40% off by using the code. So go check out the website. The link is in my bio. If you click the link in my bio, you can just go click buy ebooks, and that will take you to my e-store. We had another question here. Advice on sprouting. I would need to know what advice you might want about sprouting, because there's different kinds of challenges that certain people experience. But for sprouting in general, sprout whatever lentils, peas, mung beans, or seeds like broccoli. Radish is really easy to grow. And all you have to do is soak it for 12 hours. And then for the next 3 days, rinse and drain 2 to 3 times a day. And then they're ready in 3 days. It's really super easy. The challenging part is remembering to rinse twice a day. So failed chickpeas twice. Oh, good. Chickpeas aren't my favorite to sprout. I don't like how starchy they are. They're not as appetizing. I would recommend using lentils. Lentils are way better and easier to sprout, and mung beans as well. They're very easy, but I would also recommend getting sprouting specific seeds from like True Leaf Market. I have a link in my bio. If you click on the link in my bio, scroll down a little bit. It's called Lissa's List. There's a list to everything that we use, including like the trays for the wraps and the spatula I use and the seeds we like to sprout and grow microgreens. There's all the microgreens stuff like the racks and the lights and the trays, and we have like my salad spinner and the garlic press. Like there's so many tools in the Lissa's List, and that link is in my bio. So you can go there and scroll through and see. There's books I love, there's skincare I use, all that kind of stuff is in there too. Or yes, somebody had mentioned about Nate's course. Nate has a video course on how to sprout, how to ferment foods, and how to grow your own microgreens. You can find his course in my link in my bio. Click on the link in my bio, scroll down and tap on Nate's course. You can get that also for 40% off. So if you wanted to learn how to do that, you can as well. Fully Woven says, your soup book is my favorite. Smoothie for breakfast, salad for lunch, and soup for dinner. Oh, I'm so glad you love that soup book. I love soups because it's just a savory smoothie, really, with chunky veggies in it. And it's really fun. There's 77 soup recipes in there. And again, 40% off code RAWFOOD40. The link is in my bio. Diana Banana says, oh my God, Nate's class on sprouting changed my world. I love hearing that. And yeah, Nate is passionate about growing sprouts and microgreens. He loves it, and he really loves answering your questions. But he does have that video course, and the link is in my bio. If you guys are interested, you can still get that. You can get my Checkmate Your Cravings course. Any of our stuff is all 40% off, code RAWFOOD40. And yes, the wrap book is coming soon, as is Make It Raw Volume 2. And Nate actually is working on a kitchen course. It's called Raw Vegan Kitchen Essentials, where he's gonna go through all the stuff that we use in our kitchen. He has it all laid out to share about everything that we use, and that's gonna be really helpful if you're looking to find new tools or create a raw vegan kitchen. That kitchen course is going to be awesome. But he's working on it right now as we speak. He's in the other room editing his videos. So that's fun. That's going to be coming soon as well. So lots of new fun stuff coming this year. Stay tuned. Again, sign up for my email list if you haven't yet, or subscribe to my YouTube channel actually is a really good place, because when I drop the wrap book, I'm going to be posting a premiere on YouTube. I'm also going to be going live here on Instagram. I'll share about that in my stories as well. So just keep watching the content, and it's going to be available soon. I love you guys so much. I'm going to sign off now. Going to go eat some lunch, and love you so much. Thank you for all your support, for all your love, for all your questions. We will be back live again, probably next weekend. I miss doing these lives with you and just chatting. It's so great. But I love you so much. And until next time, fruit on.